tell us what you have against weightlifting.
I don't have anything against weightlifting. I'm just saying he's on a tear. We were talking about personal stuff here, but he's doing all kinds of he's going to go.
Where's my protein shake,
He's
bro?
going to get all ripped.
Oh, gosh.
Actually, I do drink protein shakes, and I just got one that tastes like orange creamsicle flavor, and it's fucking delightful.
Oh,
because
language.
Sorry, I forgot we'd started. Because that means at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning every morning, I have a big jug of orange creamsicle, and life is awesome.
Yeah, that's hard to beat.
Oh, did you hear? Coke's coming out with that flavor.
Really?
That's what I was told.
Like
I'm all about
Coca-Cola?
orange creamsicle.
Yeah, I forgot where I was when I heard the announcement.
Wow. Yeah.
I swear I didn't dream this. I'm going to have to look this up later.
Coca-Cola creamsicle.
Yeah, and for people who want to hear about technology,
it's the four C's.
we're going to be talking about all the rumors, the lazy journalism approach to everything.
Well, we got all the friends of the shows. We got Patrick, we have Derek, we have Rusty, we have my wife Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay.
We got
Computex.
Peter. We got all the fun people. Chuck.
It's been a while.
It's called
Phil.
Orange Vanilla flavor.
Orange vanilla.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll try it. Yeah.
It came out in February, apparently.
Coke orange vanilla. Oh well, no, they've had orange vanilla.
Really?
Yeah, that.
No, it's
vanilla orange is. Yeah.
No, vanilla has been out for a while, but this is orange vanilla.
Yeah, but you can get the orange in like the Coke freestyle. Is that what it's called? Like the big thing that you just mix everything.
Yeah, but that's not.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking like this is actually like cans. I think.
Bottle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll try it.
Derek says it sounds weird.
It sounds like it has potential to be either really great or really not great.
Also, Big Mama's in the house.
Yo.
Well, Big Mama in the house is in the house. Yeah. People are just pouring in. They can't wait for AMD rumors. I mean, who doesn't like AMD rumors?
There are a lot of AMD rumors.
Also, we got Crazy Carl over on Twitch. What's up?
I can't hear out my left ear, by the way, because
What happened? Allergies?
It's either allergies or I'm sick, but I think it's allergies.
Whoa.
Yeah, get that out of your system before Computex. So yeah, I'm like, man, I'm
sick.
Yeah, I'm to the point where I'm like, man, if I don't get sick now, then I better not get sick until after.
Oh, you're gonna
Computex.
get sick on the airplane anyway.
Yeah, but that's fine. If I get sick at Computex, I can't do anything about that.
You just gotta go full Asian style and go with the face mask.
Oh yeah, no, I actually carry one around daily, just in case.
People look at me really weird when I'm wearing it, and then I like start coughing on purpose, really noisily, and then they kind of look at me like, "Oh, I get it." I'm like, "Yes, this is for you, not for me."
Yeah, they don't actually help you; they help other people.
Yeah, I remember when I first found that out that it's like a courtesy to wear it around other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm just typing this, updating the notes.
Rusty says Computex hype.
All this is useless?
It's in full effect.
Woo.
Is all that useless?
What?
Yeah,
because
it's...
You just dumped it.
Because I printed it.
You spent 10 minutes printing it, complaining about the print time.
Because I wanted
you just dumped it.
I wanted the printout. I specifically said print 10 pages 10 through 11, nothing. And then I said print 12 through 14. And nothing came out. And then I just said, just print the whole thing. And our printer is so slow, I could print it at home on my inkjet, go home, get it, come back. It would still be printing here.
Derek says you were supposed to yell Eureka when you threw the paper,
Oh, Eureka?
Yeah. And then Lindsay says get Gordon some orange juice.
Is it episode 93?
Need some creamsicle juice is what he needs.
Some creamsicle juice.
Protein, bro! Bro, you gotta go lifting.
Please, somebody make a sound clip of that.
Come on,
Please.
Brad is gonna be bulked out. And you're like, well, I'm gonna disagree with you. Ah! Oh, he's going into roid rage. He's gonna start snapping video cards. Ah!
Like, what is that, Smart Hulk?
Smart Hulk. Every time.
Endgame.
Yeah. Oh wait, no spoilers.
No spoilers. It's on YouTube.
I've only seen pictures. That's the only thing I know. I haven't seen.
I have to hold out
Game
till
of Thrones,
Friday.
right?
I was catching up. I was at a bachelorette party this weekend, and I was kind of bad because I was like, I'm not a partier. I'm just going to go catch up on
sandwich
MCU.
kind of bachelorette, or is that like we can't talk about that?
We're in Vegas. We can't really talk about it. Kind of bachelorette.
Cucumber sandwich.
But I was in the background
really
catching up on the MCU movies. I'm supposed to go see Endgame on Friday. Wow, like I'm a year late, but Infinity War, didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I didn't really like it
No
either.
bueno, man.
I watched it like a month ago.
Not very good.
Oh, hey, you know
We
what?
should talk about technology, shouldn't we?
DC fans still angry over Aquaman being your best movie.
Hey, Wonder Woman was great.
Oh, yeah. It was, actually. Although you could have cut like 25 minutes
Yeah,
out
just
of
the
it,
last
I didn't
25 minutes. I didn't really need that.
But, yeah.
Anyway,
Endgame,
Technology.
Infinity War. Even I will take Ant-Man over Aquaman. Aquaman was like, oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get this ball rolling.
Yeah. You know, I tell you, like, if I had a choice between Star Trek Motion Picture or Aquaman, going
Star Trek Motion
Star
Picture.
Trek
Star Trek
Picture.
Motion
Star
Picture.
Trek Motion
We should
Picture.
have a movie day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how bad that is. You know, it's funny because I was just thinking about this. I downloaded a Houston Rockets podcast just to, because you want to hear how miserable other teams fans are, and they never got miserable. It was these people just rambling on about nothing. Not like, because I want to hear.
is that us?
You want to hear people in misery,
Well,
you
you
don't.
do.
Come on, you're supposed to, because it's like your only chance. You never know.
Hey, the Rockets were good. Okay.
I'm from New England. We don't have miserable sports podcasts up here,
sure.
so I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Ooh.
Oh, I could just download everything before like 10 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just saying we need to, rumors. We're going to be talking about AMD rumors. Lots of rumors. Most of them AMD, interestingly.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Wasn't there an NVIDIA one? We're going to talk about NVIDIA one.
We'll talk about the NVIDIA one.
We're gonna make some
I want to
Computex
talk about
predictions?
Intel too.
Really?
Might as well
Okay.
during the Computex part, see what we expect.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I don't know why, but I feel really short.
Yeah, that chair is dropped.
It leaks.
Well, no, that one I had put down.
Oh, had you?
Well,
One of
'cause
them
it
leaks.
was the ones I was sitting in.
No, I think we switched it with.
Oh,
the
did we
broken
finally?
chair.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
there's-
switched that
There's
one
been
out.
a couple of shows where I'm like, okay, I gotta lock my leg there so that I don't start just sinking.
So there's somebody in a meeting, like probably a president of the company. Well, let me tell you, we're going to be Disney selling full nerd to the Disney. Wait, why am I sinking? No, it just, okay. Let me get back up. Okay, sorry. All right. We are going to, sorry, everybody.
All
Stay
right.
around.
Um,
Going to lose everybody here. They're
I
like,
think we're ready to go.
Oh man.
If I remember how to do this.
you ready?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Do it.
Wait. Rumors, Computex. Yeah? Yeah, okay. In this episode of The Full Nerd, rumors. Okay. How are you going to say this
All
in
the
a clever
rumors.
way? All right, all the rumors. In this episode of The Full Nerd, lazy rumors. No, I can't call it that. All right,
Lazy
here we go.
rumors.
Come on, it's the lazy. I'll tell you. I'll tell you later my take on this. And of course, now my allergies. In this episode of The Full Nerd, rumors and what we think you'll see at Computex.
Okay. That works.
Your questions
We'll take
too.
Why is
Adam
it-
sounded so enthusiastic about that. Okay.
Welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 93. I'm your host, Gordon Mong, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hey, Internet.
Elaine Yee joins us. Yay.
Hi everybody.
And, of course, Adam Patrick Murray, controlling the vertical and horizontal.
I'm getting ready for my first trip to Asia.
It's your first?
Yeah, this will be my first trip
Ooh,
ever to
eat
Asia.
all the things.
So yeah,
Eat all
I'm
the
getting
things.
recommendations. If anyone has recommendations on what I should do in Taiwan, let me know.
Don't let anyone troll you with stinky tofu.
No, actually,
Dorian.
I've heard stinky tofu is where it's at. I kind of want to try it.
Ooh. It's gonna.
I'm not.
I
There's
think
nothing wrong
you'll
with
be-
stinky. The stinky.
No, it's a how do I put this? I think it's a texture thing. So just if you're going into it, just be ready.
I've
for
had plenty of tofu in my life. Yeah.
No, it's not. Never mind.
I
Good
don't
luck,
even
my
know
friend.
what you're talking about.
Good luck.
What's
It's a
stinky
Taiwanese.
tofu?
It's a Taiwanese thing.
Oh, yeah. Taiwan is an incredible place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Durian actually tastes okay. It's just the smell of it is really weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've
well,
had it before.
from people don't know, not about the durian, because that does cause evacuations all the time. Taiwan, you
It
go
smells
there,
like natural gas. That's
especially
why.
Taipei, all the PC vendors. It's crazy. I mean, it's just We definitely should go to the electronics district.
Oh,
There are
actually,
many of them.
I got some inside scoops on the better ones that aren't like touristy. So yeah,
Ooh.
Really?
yeah. So I Willis, remember Willis, our
Yeah,
a video
yep.
freelancer. His girlfriend is from Taiwan, and
Okay,
she has
cool.
friends back there. So they have put me in touch with them to
The special
get some
nice.
ideas. So yeah,
Nice.
So-
Insider viewpoint.
yeah,
Huh, I don't know the other places were that touristy.
yeah. Supposedly there's touristy ones and then not touristy ones.
Huh, okay, well, that'll be
So-
cool. We're going to go. Maybe we should try to
We'll see.
do something cool there.
Yeah,
There's a used camera store I'm going to go to.
yeah.
But you know what I want to know about?
Do it.
AMD rumors.
All the rumors.
All the rumors. Oh, actually, let's talk all the rumors. Yeah, why limit to AMD? Let's talk all the
well,
rumors.
I
we
mean, it's
can talk
mostly
about.
AMD, but
And I call it lazy because there's no, you really don't get blamed if you're wrong with rumors. Brad hates rumor stories, writing them because it's
I
like,
don't hate them. I just don't bother.
well, Brad is, I think, being responsible because you get the rumors out of control, you get the hype out of control, and
yeah.
you can actually really harm product launches from rumors because it was like, what? I thought it was going to be $3. It's a 32 core CPU. We can't sell that for $3. But I read this rumor story.
That happened to Vega. I think Vega got overblown. Hype train, rumor train. That's the reason I don't jump on it so much.
Yeah.
Wait
yeah.
for Navi.
Yeah. Well, what is going to come from AMD? What are the top rumor stories? This isn't a rumor, which is crazy. The X570. I want to talk about that first. What do you
Yeah,
think?
let's go. Because
X570.
BioStar leaked itself, right? Is that what happened?
That's the crazy thing is like, so it just tells you this isn't that much of a rumor. Because BioStar leaked it. They actually put out a PDF, which is still available on BioStar. I'm gonna point out Joel at Extreme Tech because he actually had a link to the PDF, which I appreciate. Some rumor sites just run the screenshot and don't run the link to the PDF. It's still up on BioStar. I downloaded and tried to print it earlier. Thus, I don't have it. So, but the
Our printer.
X570, of course, it's going to be compatible with current and future AMD processors, and it does look like the big news is PCI Gen 4 implementation.
Nice.
See if I can zoom.
Well, didn't they
in.
promise that? Wasn't that the big deal with third gen Ryzen? Like, aren't we expecting that?
Yeah, they've said it, but I don't think we have details on how it's going to turn out. And the one thing from the BioStar deck or PDF we can figure out is that all the M.2 slots are by 4 Gen 4, so pretty decent. Of course, you'd have to have a PCI 4 M.2 drive, but
Yep. I'm kind of. It's kind of too bad that this was the X570 and not like the X370, 370. I'm not sure. The B350 version.
yeah.
Because the rumor I saw a couple weeks ago is that only X570 boards are going to have PCIe 4, and I'm real curious to see if that winds up being true.
So you're gonna have to pay like what, a $50 premium just to get it if you want it? Because like, don't X470 boards go for about like roughly 140, 150?
They start there, yeah.
Yeah, unless you get them on
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah.
And then like B450 is like more in the $100 range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I
100
guess
to 150. Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I mean, it is a high-end feature. PCIe for M.2 drives and video cards and all that other stuff. They're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a $200 dollar build and get this. It's a high-end
Yep.
feature.
I know,
So-
but B450 is already starting to get a little more premium, because if you really wanted to go budget, then you're like in the A320 range. I don't think they are.
That's very budget.
It is very budget, but he just said $200 build,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So
okay.
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying B450
Very
still
low
allows
end.
you to do some overclocking. So I mean, so I don't know. To me, it's a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I find it to be an interesting rumor because to me, B450, B350 is the sweet spot for most people who build a normal system.
Yeah.
Because the big feature in that is mostly multiple GPU configurations, right? So I guess PCIe 4 will be a thing to differentiate even more, but that kind of is a bummer if it doesn't come to B550.
Yeah,
Numbers confuse me.
Yeah, I guess
No.
I understand that. I don't think it's too huge a deal.
No.
No, because you're probably if you're gonna be spending money on storage that supports 4.0, you're gonna be spending money anyway. I guess now that I think about it.
Yeah,
I consider it like ray tracing. It's cutting edge feature. I expect to pay a premium for it.
Yeah,
that's it.
All right, next rumor.
Wait, hold on. Hot off the presses.
Wow.
I just saw this rumor on PC Gamer. Went live like 13 minutes ago.
Really?
Saying that AMD has a special presentation at E3.
Oh.
For the next generation gaming hardware.
Yeah, and that's not even a rumor. It's
not a rumor, but they haven't said what it is. But I mean.
Oh right, yeah. So they're gonna obviously we know they're gonna Lisa Su. People don't know they're gonna be doing a. She's going to be doing the keynote at Computex, which is a huge deal. And number two, they're doing this
a week
E3
later,
thing, right? So what do we?
That's like back to back.
I mean, E3.
Pretty close to back to back, yeah.
I think new Threadripper at E3, right?
Yes,
that's the other rumor.
Threadripper and gaming hand in hand. That's what you buy a 32-core processor for.
Yeah, of course. Everybody wants that for playing games.
Hashtag wait for Navi.
Do you think? I guess the question. Well, do we want to talk about that? Is Threadripper gone? Because I mean, people noted they talked about the new Ryzen 3000s, second gen, Zen, third gen. I forget.
Yep.
But third gen, Zen 2.
Oh.
There we go.
Ryzen
numbers
3000.
weren't
R3s.
Numbers weren't confusing enough.
But everybody's like, "Hey, there's no Threadripper on the roadmap anymore."
I know.
Is it? Do you think it's gone? Do you think that was just a short experiment?
That would suck.
I agree. It was interesting actually because over on the hardware subreddit, the writer who wrote that for Tom's Hardware kind of got into it in a comment thread with Ian Cutress from AnandTech over it. I tend to agree with Ian Cutress's opinion, which is who knows? Different departments in AMD have different roadmaps. I mean, I think it was a consumer roadmap or a commercial. I forget. The one that didn't have Threadripper, so I wouldn't be surprised if it just was not on that roadmap for any reason. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Threadripper doesn't wind up happening this year, simply because Ryzen 3000 itself is a little bit delayed compared to what they've done previously. The last two generations, they launched those both in like April or March. So, spring. This, I mean, we don't know when Ryzen 3000 is launching yet. Probably at Computex would be my guess. That's what the keynote's going to be. But that's already putting it a quarter behind compared to the pace of the other ones. I wouldn't be surprised if Threadripper slips because of that. That being said, I wouldn't look too far into it yet myself.
Yeah.
There's countless people saying maybe they will skip for N6. That Threadripper will be N6.
I would just think that it's not a big deal because, I mean, we sort of reached a sort of ridiculous point between Xeon WX3 3575 and 32 core Threadripper. It's like pushing those as consumer parts got a little silly. It felt like so. I could see everybody's like, yeah, let's just take it easy on these this year. So, but I don't think. I think people
especially if the rumor is that Ryzen will go up to 16 cores, right? Like if Ryzen's going up to 16 cores, I mean, you can wait on Threadripper refresh.
Hashtag wait for Threadripper refresh.
Yeah, and I guess it'd be interesting to see if the 16-core Threadrippers were the best selling of the,
I'm sorry, N6 was 6 nanometer is what they were talking about. Maybe Threadripper's waiting for 6 nanometer.
I thought it was some Nintendo thing or something like that.
I thought it was like some Mass Effect reference, and I was like, that's one number off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are drawing a little too much to say it's dead just because it's not on one PowerPoint, right?
Yep.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even get our printer to print out PowerPoint. So
maybe they just abandoned that last page.
Yeah, like,
I gotta go.
Do this now. Where's it coming? What is our printer doing?
It's okay. It's not consumer anyway. So we'll just run with it.
Our printer, and it's like this. It's the size of a car, right? It's like it's this gigantic printer. It's a Ricoh, and it'll print out one page, and then it waits like 30 seconds for the next one.
It was cutting edge in 2003.
Yeah.
So 16 core actually. So everybody thinks 16 core yeah.
I'm not sure if it's gonna happen at launch.
Yeah,
is what I would say at that. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens later this year in response to whether or not Intel puts out more parts.
Oh, so they don't have to do anything. Sorry. That was mean.
That's my guess. I mean, that's my guess. I'm guessing because they just showed off the 8-core version with the one chiplet at, what was it, Computex. They're like, yeah, we could go higher. I'm curious to see if it'll be there at launch.
So I'm not up on that particular rumor. Is that a 1616? 16 core, 16 thread?
1632.
Oh,
because
okay.
It has if you look at Adam took a good picture of it. Computex, it's chiplet design, and there's room. They have one there for the 8-core they're showing off, and there's room for a second one to fit right next to it. And Lisa Sue's like, yeah, we could go higher.
I remember that part. I just wasn't sure if they were going to pull an Intel and say like, oh, we got the cores.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm just so I'm gonna look story by Dave James over at PC Games N. Ryzen 3000 specs. I'm gonna imagine this came out a day ago. He himself says it's looking speculative, even though it's shown up in a Tech Power Up database and in a retailer. But if it holds, I don't know where he's getting these part numbers from. It could be from the original Adored TV video. Ryzen 9 3800X, Zen 2, 1632s, 3.9 base, 4.7 turbo. Ryzen 7 3700X, 1224, 4.2 base, 5 turbo. Boy, that sounds that's Ryzen 5 3600X, 816, which would be probably what we saw at CES with a base of 4, turbo of 4.8, and then Ryzen 3 3300X.
God, that'd be great.
612, 3.5 base, 4.3 turbo. Ryzen 3 65 watt TDP. Ryzen 5 is 95. Ryzen 7 105, and Ryzen 9 125.
That's TDP.
Yeah, TDP. So, or who knows?
I'm super curious to see how this goes, because as someone who owns the first gen 1800X, second gen wasn't compelling enough for me to upgrade. But if they manage to make it so, I have a X370 motherboard, so it gets the the motherboard BIOS updates. AMD said they provide BIOS updates through like 2020 for these or something. If they're able to make it so that the same motherboard that launched with 8-core 16-thread support, I'm able to buy a 16-core 32-thread chip and just slot it in there and it works. That's pretty compelling to me.
That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they actually vendors have started releasing steppings for BIOS updates. I don't know if they go back to 370, but definitely 470 boards are getting it. Yeah.
What's interesting to me are those supposed clock speeds. Like
that seems really excessive to me.
If it actually hits that, wow, it's pretty compelling.
Yeah. I mean, it's a new process, so maybe it can do it, which will be the cool thing. I'm kind of doubtful, but it's based on everything we've seen so far between Intel and AMD parts. So
just saying, hypothetically, if those clock speeds are even close to what you're getting, if it's close enough to that, and that's what you actually get, even if Intel outdoes it, I still think you're already in a zone at that point where it's like, well, I don't feel like I need to spend more money, at least for me.
Oh, you mean if you were to go out and...
Yeah, if I'm getting a base of 4...
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome, right? It's hard to believe. That's why I'm always a little... That's why we're always skeptical of rumors.
Yes.
But yep.
It's also entirely possible, too, because we don't know. No one really knows what the 7-nanometer parts are going to bring.
I'm a lot more confident in the rumors of 12 and 16 core Ryzen than I am of whatever clock speeds we see these days.
Yeah, that's true. I just kind of wonder if that. As you said earlier, you've got a 16 core Ryzen 9. It's going to be pretty tough to sell people a Threadripper because the next step up is you buy a $2,000 Threadripper, well, $1,800, but it's still it's a big step up.
Especially if you have to buy the. I forget the name of the motherboard type now. The Threadripper motherboards, that's a big step up in price too.
Yep.
If you can get 16 cores in the consumer class, albeit even if it's locked to X570 or X370 or whatever, the 70 class, that's a big win.
Yeah.
That would be a big win.
Yeah, what's the TDP on the Threadripper chips?
I think they're 250 going off memory. I can't remember exactly.
So that also does... that also would be a great improvement in, thermals as well, and within your actual case.
Yeah, and I think it's
Don't have to worry so
still
much about cooling.
it's still a good, it's a really good content creation part, and you really don't need to update it just for this.
Oh, right. I'm just saying that we're talking about it from the perspective of like consumers buying
yeah.
Threadrippers. It's like if you get 16 cores and a consumer class part and its TDP is like what you said, 125?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to throw off a lot less heat, so you don't have to worry as much about how you build your system.
Yeah, no,
Especially if you live somewhere hot.
It's so much cheaper, right? And then only somebody who really needs the crazy storage capabilities of a Threadripper platform would probably go there. So
actually, that makes me wonder, Adam, if let's just say these rumors have some weight to them, and you had to choose between a Threadripper class part and like a 1632 consumer class part, what would you choose for video editing?
I mean, I haven't used either, so I honestly I don't know. I mean, I
was
would,
just curious.
Yeah, I think anything past 16 core is probably overkill from what I've seen with Gordon's testing. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a
for multitasking,
yeah,
mega multitasking.
But still, I try not to. It's a good way to go do something else and be like, my machine is encoding. I can't do anything else. I'm just gonna go do something else.
Oh, so your boss would buy that?
Yeah,
for you.
exactly.
You're like, hey, what are you doing? It looks like you're playing a video game.
No,
well,
I'm encoding.
I'm encoding out.
Yeah, I'm encoding.
Oh, that's cool. I just got you some new 32 core PCs to do some. Now you can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that wouldn't stink, right?
Yeah, I mean personally, yeah, I mean depending on prices and stuff, just for my personal machine, I couldn't justify anything too crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, what was the other one? There were some Navi rumors, right?
There's some interesting Navi rumors. There's also a not quite Navi rumor that is interesting.
Oh.
Before we go into Navi, let's talk about just the past couple of days. People noticed. Going through the AMD Radeon Adrenal Edition drivers, picking through it, they noticed references to a Radeon RX 630 and 640, which, Navi's coming. People are like, hey, what's going on here? But according to Tech Power Up, which Tech Power Up is a great review site, they also develop GPU-Z, so they know what they're talking about when it comes
GPU-Z.
to, graphics cards. They said that it shares the same device ID as the existing Radeon RX 550X and 540. So
what does that mean?
That means that's probably just a rebrand.
We've upgraded the model number.
Yeah, but that's a low end part. That's a low end part. So that's what you expect when the low end parts. If they do have Navi rolling out, you wouldn't expect that in a 640 class card anyway. But yeah, that's showing up in the graphics driver, I guess. So we might be looking at rebrand of that in the future. The more interesting thing, it's actually been a week or two, is the Navi PCB reportedly leaked. There's pictures of the Navi PCB that came out. The most interesting takeaway at a high level is probably that it's equipped with GDDR6 modules and not HBM. So if you're interested in that, actually Hardcore Overclocking is the name of the YouTube channel. It's run by Buildzoid, the electrical genius who works with Gamers Nexus sometime. And he actually took this PCB and did a half-hour breakdown of all that. So if you're interested in that, I would highly recommend go checking that out.
Does he think it makes sense, though? Because it does make sense. HBM2 has been this thing that's just kind of held back a lot of AMD cards, it feels like, because of the pricing.
Yeah, it definitely has. The pricing and the availability, I would say. HBM2 is not anywhere near in as much supply as traditional memory chips. I think it lends credence to the rumors of Navi launching as a mid-range chip. So not a high-end RTX 2080 Ti beater, but something like Polaris was when it came out a couple years ago. It debuted in the Radeon RX 480, which I think launched at $250 or $280. And the rumor has been that Navi might be a Polaris replacement rather than a Vega replacement. That's why Vega 7 just came out. So I think that lends credence to that.
Huh. Would you be disappointed?
My determination is, price is right. Price is right. Performance is right. Depends how there is. I've seen other rumors that suggest that it will some flavor of Navi. I don't have the rumor on hand right now, so I can't tell you who it's from. I can't tell you how confident I am in the sourcing. but I saw several places this week that said that the Navi, one of the Navi variants might have RTX 2070 level of performance for about $330 or $360. So if that winds up being the case, yeah, that'd be pretty exciting.
Is it? Yeah,
because that's a $500 graphics card from NVIDIA, by the way. 2070 starts at $500. So
yeah, is it believable? I guess is that. I mean, 2070 performance for $300 would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be. 350. It depends because the 2070 didn't deliver a big jump in performance over the 1080 because it packed in all that ray tracing hardware. So I would assume that Navi would not have all the dedicated ray tracing hardware. I'm not sure why I assume that, other than the fact that AMD hasn't publicly mentioned any sort of ray tracing hardware in Navi. None of the rumors have suggested it.
But the PlayStation's going to have it, Brad. PlayStation's going to have it. That means Navi's going to have it. I read that.
That's true. That's true. It could. You read that in my excellent article, in fact. But if that's true, I mean, if they stripped all that stuff out, then I could see them undercutting the RTX 2070. Especially its 7-nanometer process.
Yeah, that's true too. Although that it seems counterintuitive because 7-nanometer is going to be the pricier TSMC process. So it's not like they're like, hey, yeah, we're going to give you the 7-nanometer at the same price we were selling you at 12 or 14. It's going to be pricier. So.
Well, that's what they did with Polaris. That's what they did with the RX 480, 580. It started there. It took Vega like a year and a half to come out after Polaris launched. So, I mean, they launched 14 nanometer. I forget if they were 14 or 12 nanometer. Technically, it's the same thing. But they started right in the mid range, and I still think the RX 580, RX 480 still holds up great. So I don't rule that out whatsoever.
Although it's funny because I mean the 2070 is a $500 video card, right? Roughly. Yeah. But of course, everybody is like, well, 1070 was a $300 video card, so 350. 1070 is 350, I think. Yeah,
350. Yeah.
350.
So like, it sort of brings it back to where pricing.
1070 launched at 420 or 450.
Yeah. So like, it was like a 380. So it could actually bring 2070 back to the pricing it could have been if they can actually compete on price,
which would be great. Because that was the big complaint with the RTX series, right? That, traditional game performance was flat. It's all about the new technology. If AMD kind of forces the hand, at least with the 2070, then, I mean, consumers win.
Right. What do you I'm going to reference another rumor. This is an NVIDIA rumor by Dave James over at PC Games and again. Rumor. All over the rumor stuff. NVIDIA is going to counter AMD's Navi with refresh 16 gigabit per second Turing graphics cards.
Ooh. Ooh.
I can tell you my initial reaction to that is I don't care either way.
Yeah.
Because they did that with the 10 series when Vega came out, I believe was the time frame. NVIDIA gave, I think it was the 1060 and 1080, a slightly faster memory. I think it was 2 gigabytes per second, like that again. And it made functionally no difference. I don't think it's going to make a difference if they'd bothered to do it with the RTX series either.
It's sort of like that 1070 Ti part, which made no sense, right? It was just because they wanted to be faster, even though no one was going to buy it.
Yep, they wanted to beat AMD, which is the reason that I wouldn't be surprised if we get a RTX refresh later this year, later this year,
just to be a little faster, just a little bit more.
Because I don't think NVIDIA is going to like AMD being the first to 7 nanometer.
Yeah, but no, it won't be 7. Oh, I see. But it'll be still older process Turing cores.
Yeah.
Are you saying 7 nanometer NVIDIA?
I wouldn't be surprised if we get I would not be surprised if we see the slightly faster memory in RTX cards. I would also not be surprised if much later than now NVIDIA introduces this new GPU generation this year rather than next year, like a lot of people think they will.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Where are the other? Are there any rumors left?
Well, we had a couple people back when we were talking about the AMD at E3 thing that it doesn't necessarily mean Navi, because obviously they're going to be announcing or they're going to be talking more about next gen consoles. So maybe AMD just talks about their console stuff. Like what?
That's possible.
Right. You know?
So
maybe we shouldn't get too hyped.
I think that typically in the console space, like AMD's, like whenever you ask like Lisa Su or anybody else about it, they'll go, we let our partners talk about their consoles, and they don't ever say anything about it.
Yep.
And
True.
the fact that we know that Navi is looking to be roughly mid-year launch, if you're going to get hype about Navi, I think that would be the event to get hype for.
It's a natural fit, but who knows, right? I mean, at this point.
And E3 is games. I agree. They're in the consoles, but I doubt that they would have a big highlight event just to be like, hey, you know what they just announced at the Xbox show?
Yeah.
What they said.
Exactly, because AMD doesn't typically say anything during E3. It's much more of a console show.
Is it really?
More so, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Definitely.
guess that's why I've never been there before.
I've been, and it's awesome.
Really?
Yes.
It is.
You just have to love games because a lot of them are multi-platform.
It's all about the games, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, I like to play games.
Do you?
There is a PC gaming show, right? I forget if they still hold that.
Yeah,
PC Gamer does that.
yeah, I was looking for it. Yeah, they are going to be running another one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That started like maybe 4 years ago.
5 years. It's their fifth, or I guess it's their fifth one. So
Yeah, so
they've
4
done
years
4.
ago. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think 2015 is when they started it.
But they don't say
makes
who.
me
2014, 2015.
Do they say who's sponsoring it this year? That'd be.
I actually
looked.
looked, and it didn't say. It did not say.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because
I
it was
wonder-
like Intel.
I
and
wonder if
then AMD
AMD's
and-
like, can't fund it this year, guys, because we are doing our own thing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We got. So I just want to get a roundup. Do we think 16-core Ryzen 3000 is going to happen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick.
Oh.
I corrected. It's I don't know if it's brought to you by, but it's powered by the Epic Games Store. So if that's not telling, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So
Man, Epic is just tossing that money around,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Oh, by the way, we're brought to you by Epic.
oh yeah,
Gaming
no,
Store.
it is
I'm making that up.
our
Not at
sponsors, presenting sponsor, Epic Games Store, official sponsor. There's some smaller ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
all. Well, they're pushing that hardcore, aren't
Yeah.
they? Just like
I've got a bunch of great free games, so.
on the Epic Store.
So yes. Yeah, on the Epic Store.
Oh, 'cause
so
they-
yeah, I think 16-core Ryzen 3000 will happen. I don't know if it'll necessarily happen immediately, but I think it's going to happen this year.
So no. Okay.
Wait, no. What's the no for?
Well, I mean, Brad is kind of saying, we probably won't see it this year. Okay, so yes, you do believe in it. You believe in the power of 16 cores, Ryzen 3000.
What do you think? You're the expert. Right? You're the guy.
I
Do you think they'll launch with the 16-core if they have one?
I think there were. I actually think. I mean, everybody was at CES. Everybody was very doubtful. I talked to a bunch of journalists who I respect cover hardware CPUs, and they're very doubtful. There were a lot of reasons they didn't think so. All indications are it'll happen. Right? There's just no reason for them not to.
What do you think on timing, though?
Oh, I think it'll just show up. I think that they're going to have a blowout. I think my guess. I have no idea what the heck AMD is going to happen. Talking about it at Computex, but my guess is they want something. She's doing a keynote. You want to knock out punch on Intel in Intel's worst year in a long time. You're going to do 16-core consumer CPUs for, at Ryzen 9. It makes sense to call it Ryzen 9 to compete with Core i9. So
Well,
And it makes even more sense because they bumped down the pricing of Ryzen 7 last round, right? So now it's $330 is what 2700X launched at. So I could do 16-core for $500.
yeah, it'll be price competitive with Core i9. It feels like.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have anything in that slot for this current generation anyway. Because we all wondered if they were going to do a 2800X and they didn't. So
Yeah, I know.
that spot is currently vacant.
And I know people want, basically 16 cores for the price of a Ryzen 7
I mean,
8-core.
everyone wants it.
It doesn't seem realistic to me.
No.
Doesn't make sense to. Why not go all the way? Because it's gonna. Most people don't need it. That's why those clock speeds are a little weird in that chart. If that's what holds, because most people are gonna want that Ryzen 7 part.
Yep.
But that's 425. Yeah, so that's the highest clock.
I mean, it's pretty good.
It makes the most sense.
Still pretty good.
Oh, for the 12 core. So that's sort of where that sweet spot. Probably two 6 core dies, I guess. So
I'm going to counter and say that that part, the 16 core, is not going to be available at launch. And here's why: is because AMD, they need to go out there and throw punches, and they need to throw clock speed punches rather than core count punches. Like, if there's anywhere to bring it to Intel, it's with clock speed. Like, sure, you can add more cores, but I think people are going to be way more excited about maintaining clock speeds.
Well, but the Ryzen 7, if you're looking at if these clocks are real at all, 4.2 to 5, that's a ball game. That's a real ball game right there. That's,
I think what he means specifically on the Ryzen 9
on the
part.
high-end part.
Yeah. Is that, I mean, if they go up there and say, hey, number one, we have high clocks. Hey, number two, we have, even more cores. Like, I think they're just going to go on and they're going to focus on, hey, we have higher clocks, more cores. We can always save that for a later announcement.
Yeah,
I think this one is just going to double down on high clocks.
But what's the Intel equivalent, though? Because, I mean, if their clock speeds for this very high core part are still roughly in the neighborhood of what the highest, highest chip available for Intel is, then they could still get away with doing this. Because my take is similar to Gordon's, which is that historically they've always come out with their top line part first, because they want to have that mic drop moment. They don't seed the lower parts necessarily as the highlight.
Well, but if all the lower parts are on par for clock speeds, like that's what everyone's wanting is
I don't disagree with that part. I'm just saying that when you want to get someone's attention, you always start with the most dazzling thing first, right? Where you're just like, boom, 16 cores, 32 threads, and you can probably overclock this to 4 gigahertz base.
You don't think high clocks would be dazzling?
4 is the base.
I think high clocks would be pretty dazzling.
3.9 is the base, so you could probably easily overclock that to a 4 base, right?
Or base. We don't. It's hard to figure out where a 7 nanometer part's going to fall. It could run at a decent high clock all the time too. Mm-hmm. So base could, maybe they'll go with an Intel model where base is really sort of worst case scenario, rather than where it's going to be most of the time.
That would be nice.
I just kind of think you want to make an impact. You go with, hey, we're doing 16 cores, 450. Damn. Look at where 16
450. Holy crap. That's all they need to do right there, Adam. Just the price
420
thing.
plays it.
Man, but they've been pushing.
It could be 480, because it's i9 900. They're basically looking at 9900K. Intel, of course, there's rumors of a 10 core part that they're going to do in Coffee Lake cores.
What room did they say anything in those rumors about clock speed?
For the Intel parts, I haven't really kept track, but I haven't either. I think it's hard to see it getting. I can't see it holding against the 9. It's not going to be 5 gigahertz like the 900K most of the time. I wouldn't think, but it's possible.
No, that would twice the threads.
But maybe, but it's only 10 cores, so you're only adding 2 more cores. So maybe they just we've been saving these really special ones for this day. So maybe it'll be 10 cores near 5 gigahertz, 4.8.
Yeah,
so.
I guess so.
I don't know. I just feel like for the past couple of years, AMD has come out there and been like more cores, just every year, and it's like, oh sweet, more cores, and then I think it starts to wear off of like, cool, okay, they're giving us more cores, I don't know if that's going to be dazzling enough.
Really?
Yeah. Because, I remember when 2nd Gen Threadripper came out and we were talking about like how they doubled the cores, for the same price or whatever, and it was just like, okay, that's exciting. But it wasn't as exciting as the first time they came out and said, hey, look at these crazy ass Threadrippers.
Well,
you get diminishing returns, right?
Yeah.
Which is why they've done this whole core narrative like 3 years in a row now.
32 cores was just amazing.
Ridiculous.
Crazy. It's hard to, it's been what?
Still, I'm just saying.
I don't think you're wrong about
yeah.
that. But I do think for people who are going to be looking at a part like this that are already enticed by more cores, if you can get those cores to run at 4 gigahertz, that's for me a baseline of So that's already for me a baseline of I've got both ends now. I have everything I want. I don't necessarily need to maximize in terms of clock speed.
Yeah.
It's just about the market. It's just about the market.
Why?
That's all.
Why not both? They could launch with the 16 core chip at launch to dazzle on that front, blaze through your workloads for $420. And then they could also have the 8-core part for the same $330. If they get that close to 5 gigahertz, then that's, $8,800K for $170 cheaper.
Well, it's 1224 for that 4.2 for the Ryzen 7 part. So in theory, they should be above whatever this 10-core Intel part will be as far as multi-threaded loads. But I guess the pricing, it's hard to say. That's why rumors are always like, who knows, right? I mean, I will be interesting to see because originally you got to give credit to Adored. They had the original 16-core story, and it's held through this for about a year and a half, right? It feels like a year.
His RTX predictions or sources have also held up really well.
Yeah, so that's if we actually land where those rumors were, that's pretty impressive, So
okay, so segue.
I was about to say.
What do you think is going to get announced at Computex? Which of these do you think is going to happen like in 2 weeks?
I think Ryzen 9. I think we're going to see 16-core. I think we're going to see everything at Computex. It makes
everything
the most sense
Ryzen.
to me. Everything
Ryzen.
Ryzen.
Navi.
I don't know. It's hard to say, right? I think there'd be probably a lot of mobile stuff, probably a lot of desktop stuff. The E3 thing makes a lot of sense unless it's console.
Well, historically, has Computex been a place for GPU announcements?
NVIDIA does them.
Oh, yeah?
They have, what was it? Polaris. Before Polaris, it was announced at Computex, I believe.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. Something was announced at Computex, though, because there was an AMD event out in Malaysia I couldn't go to.
Because I feel like more often we hear about CPU announcements at Computex than we do GPU announcements.
It depends. I mean, when the timing lines up for NVIDIA, they do their launches there. A lot of laptop stuff there. Mm-hmm. I don't think they've done desktop stuff.
Right.
There.
I just mean that I have trouble thinking of AMD doing a dual launch or a dual announcement. That seems like a lot.
That's what I agree with. I would not be surprised if they have separate Keystone events for each.
Or it's reversed. Maybe we see Navi at Computex.
But they could also be like, hey, and for more Navi information, go to E3.
Maybe, who knows, right?
So maybe they might have something, for both.
But here's the thing, though. Would you really announce a 16-core, 32-thread part at E3 unless you're really targeting the streamers? I just feel like that's not quite the right event for it.
No, I think it's perfect.
That might be better for GDC.
No, it is perfect. You know why? PlayStation's got 8 cores, okay? We only got a quad-core PC. We got 8 cores.
Whose voice is that?
That's just somebody
I don't know.
Go back to the original console launches. Like, oh, look, we got more cores. We got 8 cores.
I was too busy thinking about how much I liked the motion picture.
Yeah. I mean, we should go watch it.
Come
it's
on,
a great movie. Yeah. Anyway,
when it's convenient to brag about a spec, it's suddenly like, it's entirely possible. I'm just saying, who knows? Who knows?
I'm not saying. I mean, everything is possible.
I got 8 cores in my console, Elena. See.
I'm just saying it's improbable.
You only got quad-core Haswell.
I actually expected.
I have a Haswell part.
I know.
Up until 2 hours ago, I expected to see both Navi and Ryzen 3000 at Computex, but since they just announced that E3 event, I 100% think that's going to be Navi.
We'll see. It could be what's past. What's the code name past Navi?
Next Gen.
Oh. It's so far out it doesn't have a name.
It's like that.
Hashtag wait for next gen.
What do you,
so do you guys think we'll see anything out of like Intel or Nvidia? What do you guys think about the other big players there?
I think it's too soon to see anything out of Intel, but I would love for them to drop some kind of hint because they've been slurping up all of that talent from other companies. It would be nice for them to kind of hint at what they're working on.
I think
talk about the GPUs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Intel will, clearly they don't have too many parts to talk about. I think they're going to,
Oh, no.
What was that?
That's a Brad.
Oh, no.
Losing his connection.
Oh, no.
Look, this is reconnecting.
Poor Brad.
There is poor network
Brad,
connection.
come back. Brad, come back.
And we're trying to get back with our correspondent from Kabul. He's got breaking news on the new Intel
he's not in
Computex
Kabul.
launch. He's not coming back?
No, I was saying he's not in Kabul.
No, he's not.
He's in the wilds of New England.
Yeah. Was he in New England? Or is he in New Hampshire? I don't know. I
New
always
England is the entirety.
I don't
of
even
that.
understand that whole New England thing. It's like, yeah, Pats. It's like, you're not even from Boston. You're like from 200 miles away. That's like Trailblazers fans. Like, yeah, Warriors. No, you don't. You got. We really
Sorry,
lost him?
Rusty has just informed us that Intel and NVIDIA didn't want Brad to spill any secrets.
I guess
so
not.
They cut off his feed.
No,
We lost him.
I'm wondering.
What should I rate this call quality?
I think that's a 0.
I don't think I can do 0. All right, let's see if we can reconnect
You have
with
to
Brad.
send.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I'm not even going to give you feedback on that one.
Video
Oh, this is great for audio listeners.
Oh my goodness.
Like a
I didn't
mirror
need to know
here.
what I looked like.
Oh.
Is he back? There he
I'm back.
is. Yay.
Oh, and look, the quality came back. All
so
right.
NVIDIA and Intel let you back. They cut you off because you were going to spill the secrets, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Self-censoring. I forget what we were talking about.
We're
So
talking
Intel
about
and NVIDIA.
Intel.
what do we expect from Intel and NVIDIA?
Computex.
Intel specifically, I think it'll be a lot of mobile stuff. They've been very much into defending mobile stuff. So, what did they just do? They did.
Actually, yeah. Do you think AMD will talk about mobile stuff at Computex then too? Because
I think,
they're
yeah.
getting those ThinkPads. We did a video. Go watch it on our YouTube. The AMD coming to the main line of ThinkPads is a big deal.
My feeling is there will be a lot of AMD mobile stuff because it's, people seem pretty happy with the AMD parts with this current generation in laptops. So I think we're going to see it a lot more laptops and it's been a while. It takes a while to build a laptop running a new CPU. I think we're going to probably see a lot more Ryzen laptops at Computex. I think we're going to see desktop. I think Intel is going to want to defend that. They also want to defend mobile, right? Because mobile is where it's at, or it's where all the action is, honestly. So they're going to want to probably defend that. GPU stuff, I don't know what there's talk about because there won't be a part till next year, but
I know.
Maybe a party.
I
Didn't Roger
do you really
just throw
think,
some dirt
I'm
at
not sure
them?
that there will be AMD laptops because has any of the previous Ryzen generations has laptop launched alongside desktop?
A little, not. I'm trying to think. Not really.
Are they on the same timelines though? Like, are they necessarily going to be?
Well, a lot of the Picasso parts are still 12 nanometer too, right? It's not. We're not looking at 7 nanometer
Right.
Ryzen 3000. So, but I think it's probably those designs that have been sort of cooking for a year are going to finally come out now. It won't be the main thing that they're going to be focused on, but the fact that you actually have AMD mobile parts, not hey, we took a desktop part and threw it into a laptop kind of stuff.
Right. That's more what that's exactly what I was thinking.
So I think it's I think we're going to see a decent amount of AMD laptops at Computex.
That'd be nice.
And I think Intel. I mean, we've seen our first 9th gen i7s. I don't think anybody has seen an 8-core 9th gen yet, which I'm very interested in seeing because Core i9.
Gen,
Core
you mean
i9
in
9th gen.
laptops?
In laptops.
Okay.
Not the Alienware with the desktop part, but a true 45 watt TDP H part.
H chips.
Yeah, so I think that's a good time to show off the H part there. A lot of
Yeah, so
vendors.
they just, what was it, last week introduced all those, was it a week or two ago they introduced all those desktop and laptop parts? So you're thinking that Computex will be where their partners show off functioning designs with them?
I mean, there's a reason why nobody has seen a Core i9 laptop in the wild. At least I haven't kept track, but I don't think I've seen a review of the H part in Core i9 yet. So it would make sense to hold it for Computex so they can talk about it. Because it's going to be an impressive part. We just did a video ran this morning on the HP with the Core i9 8 core.
And all the comments so far are about throttling.
Right. So everybody is very
knows?
skeptical, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, this thing is just going to
They have something to prove.
And we'll see, right? If the parts can hold, they have two, I think we talked about this last time when Mark was on, but they have two parts. They have an i9 unlock part and then have a locked i9 part.
For mobile?
Yeah, for mobile. They're both H parts, but I'm going to guess the locked part, non-K part. I mean, there's probably some slight overclocking you could do, but it's meant for, 4 or 5 pound laptops. And then they'll probably have the unlock part will probably show up in larger, 6, 7 pound laptops, like the 17 inches.
Like those gaming laptops where you don't quite want a full socketed part, but you want still a little bit of power. Yeah.
I think one of the issues with 8th gen Core i9 was we've got an 8 core Core i9, oh, I want to buy this for my laptop. Really? I mean, it's not, that's why. So vendors are like, we're going to put it in the XPS 15. We're going to put it in the MacBook Pro 15. Not really the greatest thermal envelope places to really sort of, because I think if you get decent thermal dissipation, it's a decent part. I mean, it's definitely faster than the i7 version because you got higher clocks. Yep. But vendors threw them into these really thin and light gaming or non-gaming laptops, essentially. And so everybody's like, oh, they're throttling. So if they sort of make, here's a part you use for a non-high-end, thick laptop, and then here's the one you use in a thick laptop. But, then, what'll happen is Apple will throw the 8-core K part into a MacBook Pro 15 because that's what they sell to their customers.
And they'll buy it.
And they'll buy it, right? Because, it's the highest end part. I want that. But no, you don't want this. They're still going to buy it.
It just works at 50% performance capacity.
Yeah.
This isn't really that different, though, than their previous iterations of the H part, though.
Well,
because you did see. It was a lot more rare, but you did see on occasion the unlocked version of a 45-watt part.
Yeah,
in the gaming laptops, rather.
But the big difference is the i9 H parts now actually have 2 more cores, whereas the previous version it was higher clocks, which you could only hit under certain circumstances with really good cooling. So now these i9 parts, they're really worth having. This Core i9 in laptops. It's a real 2 more cores is a big difference.
It's worth having if you can keep it cool.
Well, not even necessarily, because if people get a little freaked out by it, I always see all the comments like, "Oh, it's going to throttle." But if you have 8 cores and you really are running a multi-threaded benchmark or workload, nobody runs benchmark except for us. If you're really running a multi-threaded render and the clocks fall off overall and you're finishing at like 2.8, 3.2, right? That's still probably going to be faster than a 6-core part running at 3.7. Most of the time, if you're really running something that can really use all those threads and that is really good code, you'll get more performance out of more cores, right? So you're looking at 16 threads versus 12 threads. You give up 500 megahertz, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. So it'll work off there. And then also, if you are like, well, what about workloads that are non-multi-threaded? Well, then if the Core i9 can hold, 3 or 4 cores at like 4.8, that's just as good as an i7 at 3 or 4 cores at 4.8 or 4.7. So it really, you still get those cores for the multi-threaded workloads at a lower clock possibly, but you still get the high clocks on the lighter thread loads. So it's sort of it all depends on the OEM and the tuning by Intel and everybody to make sure that it performs as well. But, and I'm going to say I was very skeptical of the 8700K, or not the 8700K, the 9700K being faster than the 8700K, because you're looking at a 12 thread, a 612 part versus a 888 part. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, most of the benchmarks proved me wrong. The 9700K was faster most of the time just because it was very high clocks. So, 8 cores.
Let me ask you a
versus
question on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here talking about the high-end gaming parts here. Intel has said that they expect 10-nanometer CPUs to be out by the holiday season. Computex and IFA are really the only big events before the holiday season to show off something like that and to start showing off laptop designs. Do you think that we'll see 10-nanometer laptop parts from Intel at Computex?
Oh, boy, yeah. It's entirely possible, right?
Mm-hmm. There's only so many chances the rest of this year.
Yeah, what else is there? There's any non-gaming shows left? Or, of course, maybe they just
IFA. IFA's in what, August?
Yeah.
And that's, what is that?
September, wasn't it?
IFA is mobile focused?
It's kind of all things IoT, yeah.
I think Gamescom is August, and I think IFA is September.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, it's possible. Or maybe maybe it's in such low volume it's not a really big launch too. It's just simply they let partners introduce new laptops.
Yeah.
And you go without the big dog and pony show.
Filter in through all the back to school type things.
Can you imagine if that happens? If they finally get around to launching 10-nanometer parts in volume. They had those neutered versions last year. But then it's not a big deal, and they don't even have a formal launch for it.
Yeah, I know that doesn't make any sense because you really want the headlines because you want to calm investors' nerves. You want to make sure people feel that you're still in control of things. So, I mean, yeah, maybe Computex makes sense, Brad. I mean, it's entirely possible, right? Didn't they just talk about some parts?
They talked about a bunch of stuff last week.
So who knows what's happening, right? And laptops are where the fight is for the most part. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose ground to AMD on laptops, or data center, but definitely not on laptops either. So desktops is something they can just always kind of get back to. I think from their point of view.
It sounds like IFA's September and Gamescom's August.
Yep.
Yeah. So IFA kind of makes sense then, I guess. If it doesn't show up at Computex, it would probably show up in mass at IFA.
Do you expect anything out of NVIDIA?
I don't think so.
Cover the big guys.
It does for at Computex. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it, which is a surprise. Because we're 2 weeks away from everybody getting on a plane to go to Computex. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing like, hey, we got our big thingamabob you need to show up to.
The thing is that E3 is then just like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks after Computex. So let's say that AMD is announcing something related to Navi at E3.
Okay.
It would be out of NVIDIA's normal playbook to do something to try to undercut that. Do you think Computex would be too soon for that?
Yeah. It kind of makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 1650 Ti at some point, but I don't think they would try to counter Navi with that.
Depends on where Navi is, I guess. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I think NVIDIA knows more about what AMD is doing than.
Yeah, wait, hold on. This just in breaking news. It says NVIDIA is going to have a press conference at E3. I'm just kidding. No, it's a joke.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for gaming, graphics. Even though I got 8 more cores in my console. It kind of makes sense. I think it does feel like E3 is shaping up to be the graphics fight. I mean, it's been radio silence for NVIDIA. They're not, it's not like a big deal. We do know at CES, they were definitely, willing to scrap with AMD just by, stepping on them. And after their press conference, right?
They got a lot of attention for it.
So maybe they're just like, there's nothing. That kind of maybe says something about what's happening with other companies.
Between Computex and E3, I'm not sure which one would be which because they're so close together. Out of NVIDIA, I don't think we'll see new GPU launches aside from possibly a 1650 Ti low-key launch. I hope to see the G-Sync HDR monitors. A year ago or so, they announced ultra-wide versions of them, and they haven't come out yet. I hope we see follow-up to that. And I hope that with Google Stadia getting so many headlines, they finally pull GeForce Now out of beta, or at least provide more information about what to expect when it comes out of beta, because it's been in beta for 2 years or some such.
Yeah,
but they've basically given a ton of people free access, right?
Yeah.
NVIDIA Shield TV 2. I'll take one of those. Yeah.
You think it'll happen?
Yeah. I still use mine all the time.
It's like what?
It's great. The reason you use it is because it still beats the pants off of anything else. No, they had a refresh a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still Tegra X1, was it? I mean, it really wasn't that.
Well, it's just the same as the Switch. Yeah.
It's the Cadillac of Android streaming boxes.
It is.
It's awesome.
Although the Android TV market is,
pretty much dead.
You mean Roku?
No, because that's really unfair to being dead. Because dead would mean like dead.
It lives at some point.
This is more like it works. I only have 5 apps, but I'm not dead.
Come on. Roku's been integrated in a lot of televisions.
Roku is different from Android TV, though.
Yeah, it's a different operating system.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was still built on Android. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
But it's just Android TV is just sort of like, it's in purgatory. It's just like we still are alive, but we're not dead. At least if you're dead, you're in the big slumber and you're resting. You're just kind of like you're just in that floating in this big emptiness, waiting for more apps to come, and no apps ever come.
I tell you what, though, I would like to see. I'm not predicting it. I would like to see a more affordable version of the Shield TV because at this point, like y'all said, it's still using the same chip and it's 3 or 4 years old. And I would love to get one of those. I think they're amazing. That would really fit well in my household, but it's real hard to justify spending $200 on one of them for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if they cut it down and made a $100 version with some reduced, so I could stream my games and still use Android TV and stuff, I'd be all over that.
Yeah. I think typically on sale they'll go down to about like 140, 150, and it includes the controller sometimes, but that's like the best I've seen. So if they actually
I've been looking for years.
Yeah, if they've come out with a lower end model, it would put them in more households, but I don't feel like that's what Nvidia's goal is.
Yeah, they could ditch
unless
all
the
smart
GeForce
home
Now
stuff.
thing, you know, like if they came out and said, "Hey, GeForce Now coming out of beta, and here's how you get a $99 box under your TV," you know, GeForce TV or Shield TV.
I guess, yeah. I guess a cost-effective version if they made it cheaper. I mean, because the Shield TV is the console, whatever you want to call it. It's
They call it a console.
It's like at $200. It's like it's really nice. I mean, it really is just like they built the thing like a tank.
But you could spend another $50 or whatever and get an Xbox One.
Yeah, so it's tough. It does seem like
Then you're
make
getting a
cheaper
console
version.
at that point. You know, it's just dirty.
Shield TV, they actually call it a console.
Yeah, but I don't think
the
he
longest time.
considers it.
Can
a
you do
console.
everything? Can you do all the streaming stuff on? Obviously I don't pay attention, but like, can you do all the capabilities of an Android streaming device on a?
What do you mean by
Xbox?
that? Like just like Netflix and all that?
Well, I mean, there's only 50 apps, but the 50 apps in Android TV actually work really well as Android based
I mean,
devices.
Netflix works really well. YouTube's okay. I'm not always a huge fan of the interface on YouTube on like these media type devices, but it works well.
And I don't think you can cast like from your phone to an Xbox, right?
No.
No.
But I mean, you
Yeah.
can do stuff like set up Kodi and Plex and other stuff though. So, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's. I think I really see the Shield console, even though
There's
it's
a
not really
smile
a
on
console.
Brent's
It really, I really see.
There's a smile
Yes.
on your face as Gordon gets like, I can see as he's winding up.
No,
Like,
I
sorry.
mean,
I was
really-
thinking of Kodi. Yes, you could set up Kodi to watch all your totally legal DVD rips.
Yeah, see. But Shield console is really it is a media consumption device more than anything.
Yeah.
You can do the whole gaming thing, but that's probably very few people doing it. I
Sure,
think it's
but I'm just saying for $200, like if someone looks, I feel like people who buy a Shield TV are a very different
MSRP.
audience than people who are just looking to stream something. So if you're someone who's just looking to stream something, you're more likely to go out there and say like, oh, like if I wait for a really good sale, I can get an Xbox One or even like a PlayStation 4, you know, like a little bit more than that, but at least I can play games on it.
yeah. I mean,
Streaming's
I
the future.
can see that because Nvidia is such a huge brand with gamers. Yet this device lives in the Android world, which is not really about gaming.
PC gamers.
You know, it's just not really but the whole Google, integration is nice. I mean, it works. I mean, thank God for the Google parts. Otherwise, who would care about it all? But so, yeah, $100 would be interesting. I don't know if that's something they would do, though.
Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know
Especially
if
like,
they would, but I would love it. I want to
Yeah.
get in on it. I just can't justify $200 for a streaming box.
That'd be great.
Even if it does let me stream GeForce Now and Game Stream or whatever the technology to stream from your gaming PC is. Like, it's awesome. Like, I would love one of those, but I just can't spend $200.
But what do you use for your TV streaming for these days?
I have a Fire TV stick that is awful garbage and constantly crashes and buffers, and I can't wait to replace it with something else.
Oh,
Yeah, like for my family, I got them a Roku 3 because it has like an Ethernet jack on it, and so it really helps with all that crashing and burning that wireless sticks have.
I would say, you know what? I mean, why put people through that? Get a Shield when it's on sale at $150, $140, because all the accessories, they're really top notch. The controller's nice. You get your voice integration.
It's still $140, man.
And
More?
it can stream from your computer. And Katamari Damacy just came out for Steam a few months ago, so I could probably sell my wife on this now. Actually,
It's just and it's nice if you watch a lot of Netflix, Amazon videos are on there now. Finally, Hulu, all those sort of like cord cutting apps in there are at least strong. So, I mean, I don't really know the Xbox experience, but
Yeah,
I'm not looking.
can't imagine
to
why
buy
you
this.
wouldn't.
Hold up.
I don't want to buy an Xbox to I just.
I know you don't.
It's just nice to get the 10-foot UI with the little it's voice mic. It's a really solid. It's a solid thing.
Roku's are awesome. Yes, they are. Gordon, any more rumors? Not
predictions?
rumors, predictions.
I don't
Because
think so.
we're running out of time.
Oh, we are.
got to
Oh
do
my God.
questions.
All right, let's go.
Because I gotta go. Sorry,
Yeah.
everybody.
Are we ready for questions? Any more predictions? No.
Questions.
Anybody? Wait,
Do it.
predictions?
Any predictions?
Question it up.
Questions. All right. Questions. Here's some that have been piling up over the hour from the internet. Chiruku, any ideas what the fans for the X570 chipsets could actually cool, as in what is making the chip create such a heat output?
The chipset for the motherboard?
I have no idea.
I'm not
are
sure
there
what
fans
the-
on the motherboard? Is that what they're referring to?
I'm not sure. I haven't.
Sorry.
What does this BioStar board have? Like a? I need to look to see if it has giant fans on it.
Yeah, it does have a fan. Yeah.
It's on the South Bridge? Or?
I can't tell because I. Oh wait. If fans have been on motherboards for a while, I mean that was a big deal. I mean obviously you put cooling all over your. Dang, where's the picture? I can't tell anything from this low res pictures here. Wait, let me download the PDF.
Well, what would it cool?
Well, most of the functionality is in the CPU itself, but my guess is you probably want to. What the heck is even in that Southbridge chip? Oh God, come on.
Why don't we move to the next question while you're bringing that up? Rusty, a friend of the show, Rusty's asking, I wanted to ask for some hot takes on the partnership AMD has with Cray and the Department of Energy on the new supercomputer for, What do you think? AMD supercomputing.
Great for them. I mean, it's been a while since you could put those things together. I think that government regulations make it so you got to come up with competing designs and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how big of a win it is. I haven't looked into it too far because, we don't cover supercomputing very much here at PC World. But I mean, that's great. That shows that AMD is in a position where it can power a supercomputer, and it's going to be the world's most powerful supercomputer when it comes out. So, I mean, you couldn't have said that. That would have not been within the realm of possibility 3 years ago. So I think it just shows how far AMD has come.
Nice. And for the motherboard question earlier, Peter has linked in the chat to a Buildzoid analysis of the board. So, yeah.
Buildzoid's wild,
you know
man.
what?
Y'all should follow his channel.
Yeah, we should just refer to Buildzoid. Next question, Jose Vincent Santos Aguilar. Navi is not a star like Polaris and Vega, so is it a new architecture?
I believe they've said it's still based on GCN, and the reason Next Gen is called Next Gen is because it, in theory, moves to a new architecture. I'm not sure if that's official or if just rumored, but I believe Navi is based on GCN.
Right.
So, I mean, GCN graphics, what is it? GC Graphics Card Next? I forget. But it's been around since like the Hawaii days, like the 290, 390 kind of a deal. And it's been iterations based on that core architecture ever since then.
Right. And Vignesh was asking, what happened with Kaby Lake G? Were OEMs scared of an NVIDIA?
I was just thinking the same thing when we were talking about Intel announcement at Computex. I was like, hey, wait a second. Whatever happened to their partnerships with
Kaby Lake G?
Yeah.
I think it's just, I mean, there were only what? Although, to be fair, Acer just announced the Kaby Lake G laptop.
Really?
Yeah, they just announced it in New York. Melissa went out. I think we have a video of it. And it actually makes a lot of sense because when Kaby Lake G was announced, good Lord, 2 years ago? It was a while ago.
I thought it was last March.
Couldn't have been, was it? It feels like
It came out at CES 2018.
Yeah, so it was a pretty long time ago when it was announced. They came out. Overall, it was an impressive part. And then you got the 6-core Coffee Lake parts. So it really, where you were putting Kaby Lake G into these, 3.8, 3.5 pound, almost 4 pound laptops. Actually, a lot of them were 4 pound laptops. It didn't really make a lot of sense because you could get 6 cores with a discrete part. I think it didn't make a lot of sense at that point. The Acer laptop is, I think, 3 pounds, 15 inches, 3 pounds.
15?
Yeah. So big screen, quad core with Kaby Lake G, basically 1050-ish performance in a 3 pound, 15 inch laptop, I think.
Oh, interesting.
It's decently light, like just over 3.
That is really light for a 15-inch laptop.
Yeah, so it actually makes a lot of sense for Acer's announcement to do Kaby Lake G in that, because you're not going to get 6-core Coffee Lake in there. It's just unless you're gonna really nerf the performance, and just certainly those low end NVIDIA parts. Why not just do Kaby Lake G? It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, clearly you didn't see it from MSI and ASUS and Gigabyte for a reason. I think there's probably a lot of backroom negotiations. I've certainly heard rumors of them that people are like, you know what? Do I really want to anger my number one graphics partner, and I'm selling all these gaming laptops? We don't know. There's no proof, but it makes a lot of sense. It's the same reason why a lot of people go with Intel, because it's like, they may lose for 2 years, but if you're there when they come back up, because then you're making a bet, and the business is not about doing the right thing for consumers or because it's cool technology. It's about making a profit and being there long term. I don't know what's happening with Kaby Lake G. I mean, for all we know, again, remember these AMD parts were custom parts from AMD, sold custom to Intel to integrate with their EMIB thing, sort of a proof of concept. Mm-hmm. For all we know, Intel's like, yeah, these are great. We want, give us 30,000 of them. Okay. We want another 30,000. It's like, we didn't know we were selling it to Intel. We just were selling it to some blind company out of Antigua, and we just you don't know. And
Antigua.
Like what? Or if you're AMD, you're like, really? We just sold graphics parts to our primary competitor in CPUs, and they're going to be a primary competitor in graphics down the road? Yeah, that's not something you really want to do for AMD. I mean, it's good to sell components, but then you're really helping Intel at that point.
But I think it could also be just on the Intel side. They were like, oh, we're putting together this graphics department. Maybe we should be sourcing some of this stuff internally.
I think it was, that too, right?
It was right after they announced all that people started defecting over to Intel, which is pretty funny timing.
Yeah.
Or for the person who asked the question, though, we're chatting about it now, but it was a couple episodes ago. We had Melissa on after she went to that Acer event, and we actually spent maybe 10 or 15 minutes talking about exactly this, why aren't these in laptops? So if you want to hear a lot more about it, be sure to go check out that episode.
Boom. All right, over on our Discord, check out the Full Nerd Discord. It's a fun place. Link in the description. M Warning is asking, when looking at 2080 Ti cards, is there a reason to spend top dollar? Why spend the extra cash? Is there something extra that they're not seeing other than RGB?
As always with graphics cards, it boils down to features and extras. It's kind of weird with the 2080 Ti because theoretically there's $1,000 models. I know EVGA at least announced one. I'm not sure how available they are. In reality, all models are actually $1,200, which is where the Founders Edition starts, to $1,300 or so for the fancier models. I'm going to have a review going up soon of the Gigabyte Aorus 2080 Ti Extreme, which I believe is $1,250, so $50 premium over the Founders Edition. And if you're already spending $1,200 on a graphics card, then I think it's well worth spending the extra $50 to get the this is a very slight performance boost over the Founders Edition, but there's a big difference in temperatures and fan noise, and it does come with all those extras, RGB, stuff like that. I would say if you're just interested in pure performance and you're looking to maybe put a water block or something on it, spend the least amount possible that you would know works with your water block. But if you're looking to get a card and slap it in your system, spend the extra $50 and get a nice one if you're spending $1,200 already.
So you do see there's definitely it's either quieter or cooler.
Yeah, it's a quality of life
faster,
thing.
Right? So
yeah, it's like the Strix, ASUS Strix cards. I mean, I haven't reviewed a 2080 Ti version of that, but those cards are, markedly, noticeably cooler and quieter than competitors because they charge an extra $50 for this monstrous cooler. It's the same deal at the high end.
Cool. All right. Another question, same person. Will a 7920X overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz all cores be bottlenecked on a 2080 Ti? Their focus is on 4K video editing. Sorry,
I have to look up that actual part because I can't remember.
7920X.
Oh, it's a 1224. i9 7920X 1224, and you're looking at a 2.9 base 4.3 turbo with a 2080. I think you'd
2080
Ti.
2080 Ti.
I would expect it. I would expect there to be some performance throttling. Like you wouldn't get quite if you're using high refresh rate. If you're using you said 4K.
4K.
So for 4K editing, I would doubt there would be a bottleneck. Once you move up to 4K resolution, CPU matters less. It's all about the GPU, in which case you're spending $1,200 or $1,250 on the best one you can buy. So I would expect there not to be much of a bottleneck. There might be a little bit. If you drop down to lower resolutions, I would expect to see some sort of bottleneck compared to something like the 9900K, which has much higher clock speeds.
Right, because 700 megahertz more in single-threaded loads means slightly higher frame rates at less GPU-bound stuff, and so overclock a little bit. It's unlocked, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then the next one from Rooker. Any predictions on how much the cost of building a new PC will increase thanks to our brand new trade war with China? Politics.
I don't know.
We talked about this on our predictions show at the end of last year.
Although
I don't have firm predictions, but I mean, who knows how much of it is damage control? Who knows how much of it is honest? But I have seen and heard from people inside the computer manufacturing industry who are very unhappy with this latest tariff bump. And they feel like it is going to increase the price of at least several major component parts.
Yeah, and then I do remember during the last round of, trade wars, a lot of the GPU makers were moving their manufacturing base back to Taiwan because Taiwan wasn't part of they wouldn't have to pay the tariff. I don't know how this affects motherboards. I mean, because a lot of these trade wars, I mean, it's like a dictionary of things that get taxed, right? Like certain components are taxed, but if the component is in a computer, it's not taxed, and there's all kinds of weird things. It's a lot of politics with it on both sides. Yep. I suspect it won't be good. I mean, there were some people that were put directly out of business by that last round. Case Labs, I think, they got deep six by that last trade war. So
that was part of the reason. Yes.
Yeah, part of the reason.
We probably won't know.
But 10% you can kind of deal with, right? And be like, oh, that stinks. It's a tight margin business, but we'll eat this, and hopefully this will go away in a few months, and we'll have our same prices and happy customers. A 25% hit, that's a big jump.
Mm-hmm.
We probably won't know the effect of it, though, for at least a little bit longer, because it's not like instantaneous typically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
I think we discussed this before the last one. If not, I think we discussed it offline. These companies are smart. Like Gordon was saying, businesses don't react on whims. They're not, fly-by-night operations. They see this stuff coming. They plan for this stuff. So a lot of businesses have been stockpiling inventory in non-China places to avoid this as much as they can. So,
and there were ways around the tariffs too, because I remember somebody was saying, yeah, if you order the built PC, it wasn't tariffed. There was no tariff. So if you built a machine in China and it came here with the parts fully assembled, no tariff. If you order the parts separately, ship them, tariff. I mean, trade wars are inherently no fun for anybody. So,
yep.
Just like episode 1 of Star Wars.
Okay, last question. Sorry, I know we have a couple more, but we got to get going. I'll save them for the next round. And of course, we have a Full Nerd question section in our Discord. You can always put them there.
We have
and
email
anytime you think of them
too that we'll need to get to.
Yeah, we'll have to get to them later. Sorry about that. So last one from Big Mama. Do we think Intel will do another trick with water cooling this time?
Yes, but they'll say it out loud.
Yeah. Too much to get into on that one. I'm specific. I'm gonna guess if at their keynote they are not going to drop pertinent details like that. Somebody will stop. You need to mention this. They definitely will not be left out this time.
All right.
So
cool. Let's wrap it up then.
Check back next week for your fix of PC talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and also please leave a review every time you do. The trade war goes away. I'm making that up. That's not true. Send questions and comments to thefullnerd@pcworld.com. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Young with Brad Charkis.
Skype sucks.
Yeah, we all agree. Lainey Yee.
Bye, everyone.
And Adam Patrick Murray is going to uninstall Skype right now.
Any Taiwan things to do? At me on Twitter. Tell me.
Stinky tofu.